In this lesson, we're going to talk about broadcast receivers. Broadcast receivers are a really cool feature of the Android operating system. They essentially allow applications to respond to intents that are broadcast by other applications. The rule is that the broadcast intent has to match the intent specified by the receiver in its Android manifest. So essentially the receiver just has to understand what the broadcast intent is and specify that in its Android manifest. So this is a really cool idea because it allows a given application or service to broadcast messages and completely different applications to pick up those messages and respond to them in whatever is appropriate for that particular application. So this implies that we can write activities or services that broadcast intents, and we can expect that other applications may take the appropriate action and that it will happen automatically and we don't have to know anything about it as a broadcaster. Likewise, as a receiver, we don't necessarily have to know anything in particular about how the broadcaster found out the information that it is broadcasting. All we have to do is understand what we should do when we receive it. Now, the Android operating system does have a number of standard broadcast events, and that may give you an idea of kind of the basics, but you can also write your own custom broadcast intents. The Android operating system provides time ticks and time changed and time zone change. So it's going to be able to tell you about timing information that has changed. It'll tell you about when a boot is completed or when packages are added, changed, or removed. It can also tell you about packages restarting and package data cleared. It can tell you if an ID has been removed, a battery changed, or power operations. And it can also tell you about an action shutdown. So there are a number of standard events that an application might be interested in. And you can see how a time change might be interesting for some applications, and certainly a shutdown might be interesting if you're going to attempt to shut down elegantly. But you can also have an application that broadcasts its own custom intents as well. A broadcast receiver has essentially one method. It's an on-receive callback, and the rule for this is, aside from that it has to specify the correct Android manifest, is that there's a 5-second timeout on any operation within that on-receive callback. So this is not a time to do a lengthy operation. If you have to do a lengthy operation in response to receiving a broadcast event, you need to spin off a thread to do that. There's a 5-second timeout, and you will be shut off if you violate that 5-second timeout. So that's broadcast receivers. We've talked about activities intents now, the activity service lifecycle, services, content providers, and now broadcast receivers. So you can see in combination, that's a pretty rich palette for the operating system to provide us. A lot richer than what we had in Windows Mobile. The operating system really didn't provide the framework and the structure to do these things well. Android does. So you can do a lot more within the operating system, and you can do a lot more and have a responsive UI. And also you can have a lot more inter-application communication. So these are the basic building blocks of Android applications. In the next coming lesson, we'll be talking about alarms, and then we'll talk about passing data between activities.